Well, it is good to have the crow flies hiking here with me today. Well, it is good to have as the crow flies hiking here with me today. I mean, what a great treat. Hey, man, good to see you.
Good to see you, Danny. We never met in person, but I've watched a bunch of your videos and I love them.
And me too. I watch yours all the time. And I just want to know, who's this old guy that pops up on your videos sometimes with all this big white beard? That's the
Backpacker Bob.
Yeah, is that who it is?
He lives down the street from me, and I don't like him. He's not a nice guy. He's kind of a jerk. He's going to come back. He's going to be a reoccurring character. I promise.
Is he? Is he going to be with your little Smurf that you take out on the trail?
Yeah. He may take the place of the Smurf. I did
really?
an interview with Smurf.
Yeah.
That's coming up in one of my my Old Crow hiking show interviews. And Smurf was a jerk too. So I think Backpacker Bob's less of a jerk. So I think he's going to be in more of the videos.
Okay, then. Well, we got to pick our poison sometimes.
Right.
I've had a lot of questions from folks on my channel, but they're just asking about, all right, you're out on the trail. What is the etiquette of being on the trail? I had thought about today, actually setting up a white tablecloth, and I was going to have my spork and my trail meal and ask you to pass me the Grey Poupon. But we may still do something like that. I don't know.
We can do that.
Oh, me. But what has been your experience on the trail?
It seems like over the years, I mean, I know you've been backpacking a long time, and I have too. Probably some 20 years as an adult. I mean, I backpack as a Boy Scout, but as a Boy Scout, we kind of learned the rules of, it's quiet at night. And I was kind of talking about, if you're going uphill, you have the right of way, all those just kind of simple things. And then of course, the biggest thing is leave no trace. And
yes,
I've really been moved by Plug It In Hikes and Benny Braden. I mean, he is really bringing that to attention, especially in the Smokies. If you've seen his campaign and just all the trash that he's pulling out, it's just mind-boggling that people would leave stuff out. I mean, I don't consider those people backpackers who do that, because most backpackers wouldn't do that, right? I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think those, and maybe when they first start out, they just don't know. And right. Oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. Well, that was my experience when I left Springer Mountain and started north on the trail. There was a lot of young folks. This was their first backpacking experience. And so they're learning as they're going. And most of them picked it up. There's some with attitude.
Well, when I was young, I had an attitude too, but the older I get, the humbler I get, because I'm humbled by the experiences I have.
Well, that's one of the things that, that my book, School by the Smokies, it's the whole lessons that it has humbled me from the lessons that I've learned on the trail.
I've got to get that. So are you done? I haven't seen it.
It hasn't been published yet. I am done. I was just contacted by an agent, and I'm sending in the proposal, and then it may be 6 months to a year before it's actually published. But yeah, I'm completely done with it. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, I want an autographed copy.
Okay, I will send you one. I need to send you a sticker as well, because I see all your stickers behind you.
I've had fun just finding places for them up there. So I'm running out of spots now, but it's been great.
Well, I got to get in there.
Okay, absolutely. I'll put you right up there. I got a space right there.
Okay, it's in the mail. You mentioned, you meet somebody coming uphill, or you're going uphill and somebody's coming downhill. And, I've met where there's been 5 or 6 people on the trail and surprised just how often that they realize, we need to get out of this guy's way. And they part company and they let me continue up the hill. And that's just good. That's good etiquette.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, usually I've just had that mindset. And I think most backpackers kind of have that mindset, because they know if I'm coming uphill, I'm working hard. If I'm going downhill and I'm older, my shins and knees are killing me, but I've got the momentum. So I usually let people hiking uphill. I just stand aside. But either way, it doesn't bother me. If I see somebody not stopping while I'm coming uphill, I'm good. I'll stop too. It doesn't matter. I love the social aspect of it anyway. So I'll just, see where they're going, where they're heading,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's, and I think that's a big piece of it, is being attuned to what other people are doing and sort of being gracious.
Now, I will tell you that anytime I meet somebody on the trail, first of all, wherever they ask me that they're going, I'm going to tell them it's about a half mile that way.
Well,
I always tell them that.
I always say 10 more minutes. So
10 more minutes, you'll be done.
Yeah.
Because I'll never see them again, so I don't care.
You're almost there. I did that at the bottom of Blood Mountain. People were coming up. You're almost there.
You're almost there. Yeah. Yeah. They're probably mad at me later, but I don't care.
You're on down the trail. You're never going to see them again.
But now I will tell somebody, because I've had a couple of times where I passed a snake, just somewhere on the trail, and it's probably gone by the time they get there. But I will say, hey, there's a snake up there. Just let you know. Just don't want to scare you.
Yeah, sharing information is key. I mean, when it comes to that, I had a guy this last time. I did a big section that I had missed because of a family emergency. I had to get off the trail, and there was a 90-mile section that I had missed from the Nantahala Outdoor Center down to Unicoi Gap in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And as I was going down through there, a guy told me, he said, hey, 200 yards ahead, there's a rattlesnake. And sure enough, when I was looking for him, and there he was sitting on the side of the trail.
Yeah.
He was either waiting for a mouse or he's waiting for me. I don't know which.
Probably both.
Probably both. I didn't want him. And I didn't want him to have me either.
I'm scared to death of snakes, and I'm always looking. And down here in Alabama, from Alabama, it's hot, and it's hot even in September, October. So there's still snakes out. And so if I see something, like we said, etiquette, I like to tell people, give them information about what's coming up. I just think it's nice if people want it to know what's coming up.
That's what makes it community, really, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's cool. It's just really cool. And then there's the shelters. Now,
shelters.
Oh, buddy. When I was going through the Smokies, the shelters typically will sleep 12 people. And of course, COVID, you weren't supposed to use the shelters at all anyway. However, there was not much other choice in a lot of places. There would be 20 to 30 people in the shelter. They're sleeping on the dirt floor under the tables, the little tables that are out front of the shelters.
Yeah, I think the Smokies is where you really push the limits of etiquette and socialization on the trail, because I've noticed hiking through there, the shelters, that they get crowded. I know that you're supposed to stay in the shelter. And then there's that whole rule about if you're a section hiker, you have precedent over the through hikers. And, I'm scared of snakes and mice. So I just don't like shelters. But like people who kind of spread out in the shelter, or even put up a tent. Put up a tent in the shelter. That's not my thing.
And that tent's going to take up room for 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And you're in a shelter.
And that's why I kind of like the Pinhoti Trail. It's not quite as much traffic as some of the trails up in the east or in North Carolina, Georgia. And the shelters are usually a little more spread out, and usually not as many people. So usually when I get to a shelter on there, I'm fine with it. And because there's usually not that many people. But the Smokies it can be tough with the shelter situation.
It can. I was right in the middle of the bubble. So we had, the shelters were full. And then, like you said, if you're a through hiker and a section hiker comes in, they have dibs on being in the shelter. And that makes sense, because a through hiker is going to have their tent. Oftentimes a section hiker is not even bringing a tent.
Right.
So to give them the space, and they have to register for what shelter they're going to be in, where a through hiker don't.
Right.
And so to give them that right away, but there's only like 4 or 5 little places that you can put up a tent around that shelter. There would be 30 to 40 tents around the shelters.
Yeah, just a tent city around in those little spruces and things out there.
And you're on a slant, so you're rolling off of your air mattress, so you're sliding down it. It's miserable.
Yeah,
but it makes great stories. What other things have you experienced when you've been out there?
You know, my biggest thing that I come back to every time is the leave no trace stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I obviously I don't understand it why people would leave stuff. I see a lot of shotgun shells from hunters and things, and
Yeah.
I want to think that that's a hunter's etiquette to get your shotgun shells. So I don't know people that do that. I was at the Land Between the Lakes, and there's a lot of ducks there. Found a lot of shotgun shells on the shore, and I just want to think that that's somebody who doesn't know the etiquette, because I know that most hunters would take up their shotgun shells.
Yeah.
But mostly to me, it's the fires. When I come to a fire pit at a campsite and I see the aluminum and the cans and the plastics all, from the night before, I want to carry it out, but usually I try to usually take a trash bag, but because that stuff's got all soot and stuff, and I want to get all my gear. But yeah, I mean, that can really create a mess.
It does. It doesn't go away. Yeah, leave no trace is such an important thing for us, because we want these trails for our children and our children's children.
I think that because of the pandemic situation we've been in, there's been a lot of people that's kind of gravitated to the outdoors, and I think it's pushed the limits of some of the trails, the national parks and the state parks. And there's been a mix of people who do backpack and don't, and they get out there and they don't know the etiquettes. And so it may be just me, but I'm seeing more of the trash and the leave no trace things that are not being followed.
Yeah.
And it just pushes on the environment and that little space that we have to have this recreational time, in the outdoors, if people don't follow it. So I think just being aware of it will push that narrative a little bit.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this, because, I did have a couple of folks ask me about protocol, being courteous on the trail. And I, they were afraid of people. And I said, you will meet some of the most giving people in the hiking community that you can find.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the stuff they want to give you don't want to have, but they will give you anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually when I find these people out there, they're just so nice and caring, and they want to help you and whatever you're doing, or they want to talk. And I just love the social aspect of it to an extent. Now, there is that thing, hiker's midnight, that I like to, being an older guy, I like the hiker's midnight. I like to be quiet, and I've had some experiences in the Smokies too, where at campgrounds, mostly campgrounds, where I'll have some college kids, and I become that old guy that says, "Get off my lawn." Backpacker Bob needs to get out of the tent, the beard on, and say, "Y'all need to be quiet, you young kids."
Yes. Again, I remember on that one section I was telling you about, going down toward Georgia. I was in the shelter. I was by myself, and I was thinking maybe I would just be by myself that night. But oh no, no. About 11:30, there were 4 folks that came in, bright lights, talking loud, laughing, joking, pushing their stuff around. And I'm trying to sleep. And I know we all have different rhythms. So 4:30 in the morning, I get up, and by 5:30, I'm on the trail. I love to see the sun come up through.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Yeah, and it's just great. And so I get up at 4:30. I'm trying to be quiet. I'm putting everything together and packing my pack. And one of the guys, he says, you can turn on your light. You don't worry about us. I said, no, I know what it's like when you're trying to sleep, so I don't want to disturb you. And I just hope by setting an example for others, maybe they would pick that up. But
or just use, a lot of people, why is this red light function on my headlamp? Well, that's for that purpose. It creates less of that beam. So, one of those things a lot of people don't know is that red light is typically used for late night and early morning, so that you can avoid that straight glare in somebody's tent of that white light. Yeah.
That's a good point. So I imagine some folks, if they're just brand new to hiking, they might think that's for emergency. Army, we used red lights, what we call blackout conditions. And it was that red light, that you would drive by even. I mean, because and it doesn't carry so far, but you don't see much either. But at night, when your eyes are used to the dark, you actually see quite a bit with the red light.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good thing.
You know, experiences with etiquette and just protocol. I mean, I just find that, I guess that's why I gravitate toward backpacking, is that most people I come across, a lot of people say, are you scared of people out there? Do you carry a gun and things like that? And I say, usually no, because I just don't find the people that are backpacking, especially if I'm off the road. I don't find people that most people have the same mindset I have, is that they want to do miles, and they want to see the scenery, and they want to see the sunrise or the sunset, and they just want to kind of be to themselves. So I try to be aware, like you said, be aware of somebody I meet and see whether they want to talk or not. Maybe they just want to, be to themselves. And then I just try to just kind of accommodate that, whatever I can do.
I've never felt threatened. I know it's out there, and we live in a weird world, but I've never felt threatened. If I ever carry anything, it's to ward off any threats of snakes, maybe. But my brother, we were in Wyoming and hiking in the Wind River Range. Man, if you haven't been out there, Brad, it's
oh gosh, I'd love to go there.
Oh man, wait, that would be a great trip. That'd be a great trip. It's we can do that.
Let's
Rick
do it.
and I.
You and me, let's do it.
All right. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
It is a great trip. We were out there, and I found grizzly tracks in our campground. And black bears are one thing.
Yeah.
Grizzlies are huge. Just this old boy, he was a big bear.
Oh my goodness.
Rick, I told him the next morning, I said, my brother said, we have we need to be careful out here. He says, well, I'm packing. I said, well, what are you carrying? And he said, well, because it wasn't anything showing. He said, well, I got a little 380 in my pocket. I said, a 380? You're just going to make that bear mad.
It's going to come at you faster then.
He said, I'm not going to shoot the bear. I'm just going to pop you in the knee, and I'm going to run because I don't have to outrun the bear.
Yeah, I don't think a 380 stop a bear.
No, but he just thought, man, whoever's the slowest runner is the one that's going to get eat. Oh me. Well, Brad, it is such a great time to visit with you. You're as funny as you are on your videos.
I appreciate it. I'm not really that funny. I just play one on TV, play funny on TV.
Well, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to when we can go hiking. And let's plan one. All right. So what are your plans for next year? Do you have any? Have you thought about that?
Well, I'm working, and I've probably got 5 or 6 years left of work. And so I still got kids in the house. So I try to go when I can, but usually that means probably a 4-day, 5-day limit.
Yeah.
But I do have a trip to South Dakota coming up. And a big thing that I've been working on is the Alabama Triple Crown. I'm putting together 3 trails in Alabama that are going to be kind of the Triple Crown of Alabama backpacking. It'll be 3 20-mile trails. So I'm excited about that.
That sounds neat.
I really am. I mean, there's not a whole lot of backpacking in Alabama. There's not that many trails, but what there are, I think we can work with.
Yeah.
And so right now my videos that are coming out are the 50-50-50 thing that I did with the
that's pretty
kayaking,
awesome.
and backpacking and biking. And so my buddy Avalanche, he got a breath of fresh air or new wind about him. And he said he's about to turn 60. So he wants to do a 60-60-60.
Oh, buddy.
So I'm excited about that. But, anything I do, I probably 4 or 5 days with work is about all I can do right now.
Sure.
I want to do more. I really want to do a long trail. When I was so jealous of you when I saw you doing the AT. I was like, oh, I want to be out there so bad.
Yeah. Next year, what I'm planning on doing is a trails less traveled. That's all year long. I'm going to take 1 week every month. That's my plan. 1 week a month to do a trail less traveled.
What a great idea.
So in Alabama, I was planning on doing something in Alabama in January to sort of kick it off. Maybe the Sepsi. I was looking at your videos on Sepsi, so I may do that, or the piece of the Pinhoti. something down there. And yeah, I've got it all planned out. I know
Nice.
Wisconsin's coming up in June. I'm going to do a couple of sections of the AT. Plan maybe do the 100-mile wilderness in
Love
September.
to see the 100-mile wilderness, man.
Yeah, that's what I want to. I want to summit Mount Katahdin on September the 11th.
Oh, wow.
See, I was in the Pentagon September the 11th,
You were.
yeah, I was stationed there, and so I want a new September the 11th.
Wow.
And so that's one of the things I'm planning. And yeah, so each month to go to some place different that's not so traveled and not so well known, and do a video of that.
What a great idea. That sounds like a great series. I think that would be awesome, just because, you know, there's so many trails out there in different states that people really don't know about because they're just not those traveled trails that you see on videos every day.
Yeah. I mean, and some of the ones that you've done, I just, well, you know, we're going to the Land Between the Lakes here in a couple of weeks, because Senior Hiker, you inspired Senior Hiker. He hit me up and said, you know, want to go. And so now we're taking about 8 folks to go.
Okay, well, watch out for that beast. There's the legend of this beast out there.
Yeah,
I heard it.
I saw your video, man. What is that? And I saw your picture.
Well, somebody thought it might have been a hog, but I never saw it. But it was running at us, and I just braced myself, and I never saw where it was coming from, and it just felt like it was running through the woods, and then it stopped, and then it just went away. And my buddy Avalanche, he got out and he was looking around and couldn't figure out what was going on. And that night, I mean, I was so tired that night. I still couldn't sleep much because I'm just thinking whatever that thing is. So tell Senior to be looking out for it.
I will. Maybe we can. Well, you know, it's sort of like what my brother was going to do with me. Whoever's the slowest gets eat. So,
hey, Senior Hiker's faster than you think he is.
All right. Well, brother, it's great to talk with you.
You too, buddy.
And don't want to take up all your time, but I like your setup. You know,
Thanks.
That is good looking. Yeah.
I just call it my redneck studio, Alabama redneck studio. I'm working on it, trying to get a little better each time, but it'll take, you know, by the time I'm retired, it'll be okay.
It is so good. And I've had a blast with this. So.
Well, thank you, Danny. Appreciate you including me in on this discussion. It really was nice.
Well, I ran away for the first time when I was only 4 years old. I'm a free born man.